Less than 24 hours away from the Ohio State spring game, we have the top Buckeyes to watch, getting a sneak peek of our guys before the season starts for 2026. We got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Columbus Football 365. If you are an Ohio State fan, please hit that subscribe button. Only 19.8% of viewers are subscribed to the channel, and it really helps me out a ton. But let's jump right into the first thing that we are going to be tuning into tomorrow, which is going to be the backup quarterback battle between Tavian St. Clair and Justin Martin. And 24/7 Sports weighed in on the event, saying this is an experience for Tavian St. Clair to showcase his talent to Buckeye Nation. The 6'4", 230-pound St. Clair has all the physical tools to be a top quarterback. As a former five-star prospect, St. Clair is expected to show his development and other skills that made for a talented signal caller in his second year, or that make a talented signal caller in his second year. Now, everyone, if you're watching this video, I'm not going to say everyone knows who Tavian St. Clair is, but you probably know who Tavian St. Clair is, one of the top quarterback recruits from last season. A lot of people are questioning, is it a bad look that the team up north, their five-star starting rookie recruit quarterback started game one? No, it's not a bad look for us, because that just means we had a quarterback who could start. That's what that means. But moving on for tomorrow, Justin Martin, the transfer from Maryland with a little bit of experience versus Tavian St. Clair. We are expecting Tavian St. Clair to win this matchup, although we are expecting a ton of passing according to head coach Ryan Day. He has already given us multiple updates on how a bunch of running backs are injured for Ohio State. We are down our first 4 running backs on the depth chart, so we're not going to expect a ton of run plays being called. Should be a very fun, air it out type of situation, and we will be able to get a very good feel of which one of these quarterbacks are ahead in their development in the race for the backup quarterback behind Julian Sayin. Remember, backup quarterback, one of the most underrated positions in football, as you are only one play away at any given moment from becoming essentially the most important part of the football team. It's like that tweet, if you've seen it, when it's like, help, I've accidentally become important in my job. That's what it's kind of like as a backup quarterback. But let's jump into our next guy here, who is a name that I'm extremely excited to see. And that is Brock Boyd, the freshman wide receiver from South Lake, Texas. Brock Boyd making waves at Buckeye spring practices is an understatement. Brock Boyd, just read this from 24/7 Sports here. They write, it took just 6 practices for Brock Boyd to have his black stripe removed by the Buckeye coaching staff. He was the only scarlet and gray freshman to get his black stripe off this spring until fellow wide receiver Chris Henry Jr. did so on Wednesday. So our 5-star wide receiver Chris Henry Jr., not the first true freshman wide receiver to get his black stripe off, because this 3-star from South Lake, Texas, was able to get his black stripe removed before one of the top wide receivers in the draft class. That is extremely impressive. What I love about this is, if Chris Henry Jr. got it removed really early, you're like, yeah, he already had a lot of hype behind him. The coaching staff knew he was going to be amazing. Like, maybe there's some politics behind it. When Brock Boyd, a 3-star, someone not expected to be a major difference maker this year, is the first freshman to get his black stripe removed, that needs to make you extremely exciting. And while I know their height and their build are very different, I can't help but look at the as a prospect box, where he's a 3-star and it ranked wide receiver 123 in the country, and not liken that to Marvin Harrison Jr. When Marvin Harrison Jr. came in as a prospect, he wasn't one of the top guys like Jason or Olave or Garrett Wilson. He was down the board. He was somewhere in between 120 and 180. Like, he was somewhere in the mid 100s. But he showed up at Ohio State. He developed properly. I was going to say, proved that Ohio State can develop and didn't just need to bring in 5-star talents. But I feel like that takes away from the work that Marvin Harrison Jr. put in behind the scenes. But at the same time, Brock Boyd, only a 3-star. We are hoping that he can maintain the same kind of trajectory that Marvin Harrison Jr. figured out at Ohio State. I know that is not realistic to ask out of anybody, but getting your black stripe off before a 5-star wide receiver recruit like Chris Henry Jr., who we know how talented Chris Henry Jr. is, that is something very special and something that cannot be ignored. We are expected to go pretty deep in our wide receiver rotation this year, and I'm excited to see what Brock Boyd is going to bring to the table. Next, got to see what Jacoby Jackson brings to the table as one of the only healthy running backs for tomorrow. Jacoby Jackson transferred over from Florida. He was a 3-star transfer, 5'11", 217 pounds. You can see the picture. I can't see his neck at all in that picture, which bodes well for someone who is going to be a goal line back. Last year, our red zone offense was pretty poor. Like, not even Ohio State poor. It was like Division I bad. So we got to improve in that area. Just think back to the game versus Ohio, where we were not able to convert in the red zone, and it didn't almost cost us the game, but at halftime it was a close matchup in a game that should have been a blowout. So, and they lost their quarterback at halftime. So what could have happened? Yeah, we still would have won. I'm not suggesting that we wouldn't, but what I am suggesting is we need a better goal line run game, and Jacoby Jackson will bring that to the table. Let's talk about some more transfers here. How about the duo from Alabama, Quay and James Smith? Both players went to high school together, committed to Alabama together, now transferring over to Ohio State together. So you could say these guys know each other's game pretty well. We are expecting to see big things out of this defensive line tandem, both highly rated guys by 24/7 Sports, and them together already bring built-in chemistry, which is amazing because Ohio State losing a ton of defensive line talent to the NFL for the second year in a row. I know Reese isn't a defensive lineman per se, but we're losing Arvell Reese. We're losing McDonald over the middle, and then we're also losing Caden Curry on the edge. We're losing a ton of our sack production, and we have to find a way to replace it. Now, you would like for people to step up, players that we have recruited in the past, but sometimes you just want to just inject the program with some experience, some guys who have already played some college football, and that's what we are expecting out of these two players. So they're not allowed to touch our quarterbacks, but let's see if they can get after some quarterbacks tomorrow. Next, we have Earl Little Jr., a safety transfer from Florida State, someone who has generated so much buzz that I thought I was going to have to make his whole own video. Now, I eventually chose against that, didn't end up making that video, but Earl Little Jr. has generated so much hype behind the scenes. He's going off at practice. The 6'1", 199-pound safety has been making a name for himself at Ohio State spring camp. A 4-star transfer from Florida State, ranked the 70th best transfer from the transfer portal and the 3rd best safety in the transfer portal, but reports are telling us that he's playing significantly better than that, and I love what I'm hearing from him. Hopefully we can see a good game from Earl Little Jr. tomorrow. And then finishing off this video with, if you've seen this channel, you knew I had to put in Hunter Welsing here. Hunter Welsing is coming in to replace Max Clare. Welsing transferring over from Northwestern, so remaining in the Big Ten, but coming to a significantly stronger program. He is one of 2 tight ends that Ohio State acquired in the transfer portal, the other one being Mason Williams from Ohio. However, Mason Williams projects more as a blocking tight end, the Kazmarek replacement, while Hunter Welsing projects as the receiving threat, the Max Clare replacement. So good luck to Max Clare in the NFL draft, but I'm really hoping that Hunter Welsing is someone who is able to step up, be decently productive as a tight end. I know at the college level, tight ends they're not usually super productive unless they're like Brock Bowers or Kyle Pitts. And at the same time, the Buckeyes have so much receiving talent that they're just the pie. There's only so many yards to go around. So Welsing is going to have to earn whatever he gets, but I'm excited to see him finally in an Ohio State uniform. So I think these Northwestern alternate jerseys are sick, but I want to get him in a Buckeye uniform for obvious reasons. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And go Buckeyes.